It's Sam at the Face with Simon Jordan and Danny Murphy, and a bit of big boxing news over the course of the last 24 hours, and that is that Buatsi against Azeez has been cancelled because of an injury, and Spencer Oliver, who is the talkSPORT fight pundit, is here to discuss it with us. This is big news, isn't it? I mean, because this was supposed to be Saturday's main event.
Yeah, it's a big disappointment, if I'm totally honest. Unfortunately, Dan Azeez has pulled out with a back injury. I believe he's got a trapped nerve in his back. So the fight is going to get rescheduled. I know that they're trying to reschedule the fight for this side of Christmas, actually, looking at December sort of time. But yeah, huge disappointment for Boxer and for the show, if I'm totally honest. But I do still believe, Sam, the show is going ahead. Venue to be decided. They're looking at options, possibly York Hall. They may even keep it at the O2. So the card still goes ahead with, I think they'll be topping the bill with the British Cruiserweight title, Mikhail Lowell and Usyk Chamberlain.
Okay, let's hear from Eddie Hearn on Drive yesterday, because he sounded a little bit sceptical about this.
I don't know about any injury. You just, in boxing, you hear a lot of stuff, Andy. Some stuff that's true, some that's not. But, I was asked about it, and I heard that, the event wasn't, this is just what I heard, wasn't going particularly well, and it was unlikely to take place, whether that was true or not. And he ended up getting an injury. It's very strange to get an injury on the Tuesday of fight week. But look, I think it's a shame, because it was a good fight.
That was Eddie Hearn speaking yesterday on Drive. I mean, is that just promoter versus promoter swipe, or is it strange that he's got an injury on the Tuesday ahead of a fight?
Yeah, look, Sam, I think it is a little bit of that. If I'm totally honest, look, that is a great trade fight. Everybody knows that. Joshua Buatsi is the WBA #1. Dan Azeez was WBA #2. And Dan Azeez he's had great momentum in recent months, in recent years, really, with his career. And it was a 50-50 fight. I think that everybody was looking forward to that. Tickets were selling well. I believe that they were over 10,000 tickets sold. So, I don't think it was down to ticket sales or anything like that. It was a great card, to be honest. Like I say, with Usyk Chamberlain, Mikhail Lowell, which was going to be chief support, that's a great contest on its own for the British Cruiserweight title. And as I said, Azeez and Buatsi was going to be a brilliant fight.
So, what are your thoughts on that, Eddie?
I'm disappointed. I mean, I was going to ask Spencer, because the point that you were making that Spencer didn't answer was, is it not unusual? Eddie's inferring that it would be unusual for anybody to have a reason to get a back injury in the week building up to the fight. What do you say to that, Spence?
Yeah, listen, Simon, I've got to say, mate, it is very unusual, because in the week build up to the fight, you're tapering off, you're recharging your batteries. All the hard work's been done over the last 12 weeks. All the sparring's been finished. So it's literally about going through the motions, getting the weight right, going through the fight game plan, etc., etc. It'll be a little bit of shadow boxing, a little bit of stretching. So it's very unfortunate. But when fighters of this magnitude have been training as hard as they have, their bodies are very finely tuned. So accidents can happen, but it is, the answer to that question is, it is very unusual for a fighter to, to sustain an injury like that so close to a fight.
It's a bit cynical, though. I mean, Sam Matterface walked in here this morning on a walking stick because he fell off the bottom of a step and he's broke 2 bones in his back. I mean, come on. Anything can happen.
It's true.
I mean, do we know the extent of the injury, Spence? I mean, Eddie's assertion, and I think it's interesting that you've sort of corroborated the idea that there's really no reason he should put himself in the way of any jeopardy building up to the week. I think he's been a bit more Machiavellian by suggesting the fight isn't selling, because, quite frankly, the main revenue source would be Sky on this anyway, because it's a Sky fight, and that's why Josh Buatsi signed for Boxer, for the Sky situation. Do we get a feel? I saw Ben talking last night on trying to ensure that the undercard stays available and fights go on, because obviously the undercard fighters still need to fight and want to get paid, because it's not their fault the feature event's gone. But do we get any sense? I mean, you mentioned the York Hall. Why would they take it to the York Hall? I mean, what's that, a capacity of a couple of thousand?
I'm only going through what I've heard, Simon, like sort of... why would they take it to talk
for a fight of that magnitude? And you've got 10,000 tickets being sold already for 20,000.
You couldn't get 10,000 in the York Hall, could you?
Get about 2,000.
No, but Sam, what will happen is a lot of people will want refunds, obviously, because the appetite really was for that main event. Anybody that's a boxing fan understands that is a great fight. It's a fight that's exciting stylistically, is a brilliant fight. So a lot of people possibly want their refunds.
Well, they'll get their refunds, won't they? Because ultimately the fighters aren't getting paid, so the main cost isn't there, is it?
So that's why, Simon, they may have been looking at somewhere like the York Hall, because they may have felt that the majority of people were going to ask for refunds back. So they obviously want a packed arena. It would look very strange, wouldn't it, if you had 1,500 people in the O2 arena?
Oh, granted. But if the appetite for the fight, if the appetite for the fight on October the 21st is there, the appetite for the fight will be there if Dan Azeez is fit in the first week of
because
December.
Ultimately they're trying to fight for the right to take on Dimitri Bivol, aren't they, for the WBA World Championship? But someone has thrown their hat into the ring for this weekend, haven't they?
Yeah, well, Craig Richards. I saw a tweet actually from Craig Richards, who's under the Matchroom banner. Actually, he said, "Listen, I'm always fit." Do you know what? Great story about Craig Richards when he first boxed for a British title, actually against Frank Buglioni, which happened at the York Hall, Bethnal Green. He took that fight in 24 hours' notice. Craig Richards is one of those guys.
But we've seen it, Spencer, haven't we?
All the time, but he's a professional.
But we've seen the fight, Spencer, haven't we?
You don't want to see Buatsi versus Richards, no?
We've seen it already.
Yeah, of course. I'm just saying he threw his name in the hat.
Not really, wasn't it, last time?
Not really.
Do I think that's likely to happen? Of course not. I'm just saying that that was something he was possibly trying to save the show by saying, "Listen, I'm ready. I'll go for it." Yeah, it's a fight that we've seen before, but he wants another opportunity, another payday. Understand that. Do I think it's going to happen? Totally not. I think that they will go ahead with Mikhail Lawal, Isaac Chamberlain. I think that's where it happened. Listen, guys, it could possibly stay at the O2. I think that these are just. I think these are options that Boxer are now looking at. They want to save the show for the reasons that Simon's already said. There's a lot of fighters on this undercard that, worked very hard. They want to get that payday still. And Boxer is trying to save the show by doing that.
It's Wednesday, so they need to move pretty quickly. Spencer,
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Always very good at moving very quickly.